Well, hello people, and welcome back to episode 23 of Illium, our modded Cities 1 build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Last episode, part 1 of Central Park, was amazing. Really love this hilltop installation. Of course, we'll continue in a future episode once the final 9th tile is open, for which we'll be making progress toward that last tile today as we move to the other side of the Central Park, next door to the campus, where we had lots of great suggestions when I asked for feedback on this, and we're going to mix a whole bunch of different things together. We're going to go with student accommodation here, an office park, and some transitional single family homes. With the metro cutting through the area and all of this heading uphill, should be quite an interesting transitional district, this one. But a happy Monday to you all, and welcome back to Illium, everyone. Alright everyone, so let's begin with some sloping here, because the area we're working with today is not remotely flat. We'll bring quite a small brush, but quite intense. Let's try and ease out any of this stuff that's going on over here. And most of this is fine, and once we're in, just a little soften to ease everyone out. Just don't really want any cliff texture. A lot of it will appear as we begin to place buildings and whatnot. But especially over here, it's going to be quite gnarly terrain, but we'll do some nature detailing around this, I imagine. But with that done, let's begin planning in our road structure. So we have cycling on the couplet over this way, which I'd like to maintain the cycling infrastructure, especially coming back into the campus. We'll grab ourselves a small cycling road, and we'll feed this pretty much straight through. How are you going to connect in here? It's not too bad. Just double check we've got no horrific nodage here. That one, you could argue, is a touch too close. You don't want to leave nodes too close together in Cities 1. Game does not like it. This is also a really sharp turn here as well, isn't it, if they're coming out this way. So I'm going to stretch them all out and then pull green back a touch. I'm going to make this node a slope as well, so it's all coming downhill. There we go, let's push the red and green off. So this way this turn isn't too tight. Did have some complaints at that near the campus entrance, so I'll avoid doing it again. We also have pedestrianisation through here, which is something I would love to continue. So I want office parks here transitioning into the skyline, so we'll use a few more towers today. Lots of bars around it, and then plenty of sports pitch as we come nearby to the student accommodation. Now I don't think I want this pedestrian road to connect back to this arterial. I think I probably have a road joining up to this collector system, and then that can plug in there. There is also a metro line to factor into this as well, so we'll grab one of... Do we want to use peanut stations? I think I will. I think I appreciate the gravitas of peanut stations whilst we're still really within the downtown district. So in terms of where I want this to stop, probably quite a bit further along here. And I think we'll definitely move this one further down as well. Although I actually mentioned splitting this line off, didn't I? But I think with this metro line coming overground now, I don't think I need to do that anymore. Otherwise we're just covering double metro under an overground that are essentially originating from the same spot in the centre transit area here. So I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. Yeah, we'll go with this. I'm going to carry on with cycling road here back to the couplet system. And then we'll place our station on this road. That has other metro stop in. I do realise that's a little bit of metro overkill. There's quite a lot of stops there in quick succession. But I think when we come up to develop this plaza, we'll move this metro to be further down. So it'll space it out a little bit eventually. We can certainly develop a bit of a town centre commercial plaza around this. But with the collector roads in, let's move into a little road time lapse here. Sketch out our local roads. So let's start with some further tower corners around the centre of the downtown, shall we? I think we'll bring in the Olympia, what's it called? Olympia Term, over here again from the wonderful Skyscrapers DLC. And I'd like to have this very much facing this main junction, which is probably due to some node controller and intersection marking. It's becoming quite an important intersection this in the city. I'm going to move it over a touch as well. We're going to have some terrain tearing. Imagine do some very light retaining more work today. I'll actually bring this road down again onto another junction. We've got quite a few traffic lights I want to turn off here as well. Let's kill all of these along the main route. We'll have one on the entrance off the arterial here. And down at the main junction. And then we'll grab some of the vanilla office spaces as well. Somewhat taller buildings through this particular district. I do often find the transitions away can be some of the most challenging bits of the city, in some instances at least. We'll have two little small corner numbers here. Which is giving us a slight climb in the building, but I don't really mind that, to be honest. We should have a pedestrian area nearby. Yes, there's one over here, which we're going to force through. And then we'll paint this whole street in it because all these buildings that sit here will want to be pedestrian. We should actually keep an eye on those service points just to make sure they don't get overloaded. There's people dying of noise pollution. I think I want to change this block as well now into something higher rise. Moving downtown doesn't particularly fit here anymore with the tourism additions. I don't think we'll change that. If I can even find the service point, here it is. Yeah, this is actually at really low truck capacity. I guess they're really not supplying that many buildings, are they? Because the pedestrian areas are only really quite small anyway. Towers are going in down this main street. I mentioned I want quite a lot of bars and entertainment. Of course, the nightlife stuff will do wonders for that. A few little tourism buildings in here as well. Some details to be had. But I think a lot of King Leno's shopping mall stuff, especially these sorts of bars here, you can certainly picture as an instance of spice sample, if you like, for the day. From these rooftop bars, workers leaving either the university, students as well, of course, or the nearby tower districts, to sit on roof bars here and just enjoy a really nice view. This will probably be much more impactful at night time, I imagine. Yeah, right. Let's wait for a metro here, shall we? There it is. That's a monorail. There will be a metro at some point. Any moment now, everyone. There it is. Say it and it shall appear. That's the point, right? You can really see the city kind of living and breathing from these little viewpoints here. I think that'd be quite nice. So we'll essentially entertainment and nightlife up this whole pedestrian road here via a plopping time lapse of King Leno's Mall buildings, which again is a really good DLC. If you're missing it, you can get it down below. So brought in some high density commercial down the bottom of the pedestrian area here. Respecting important corners, making sure we get nice corner assets here. Just lots of commercial vibes, shops, bars, entertainment. All the way up the pedestrian street. And then with little alleyways that develop like this will be perfect places to feed pathways through. As we can turn our attention towards developing a little bit of a skyscraper plaza through here, which transitions from this commercial district very much into, I guess, what is the office park here. I'm going to go for a park pathway. This way we can form the terrain down to what we like. And even bring that across there. That really does quite a good job, honestly, of hiding a lot of the terrain. Probably hides it a little easier for us. And then we can just spend so much time having custom fun. Surfaces. Definitely lots of car parking expected around. City centre entertainment like we have over here. And then some bit more tropical exotic trees in a space. Simple road is I'll try and avoid too much bush lining. And then over here, that's a great spot for another little 3x3 commercial building, which will keep high density while we're this close to the towers. For which a Shops of Shibuya commercial block might actually work quite nicely in there. Cool. A little bit to tidy up there. Maybe there's some bushes or concrete, I'll blend it in. But now we're going to get these alleys, which are kind of respecting the other entrances on the building as well. If you can bar some terrain tearing here, you can pretend it's almost like a basement there, right? If you really want to pay that much attention to your alleyways, but bins respected, as it just creates another little inner city streak of personality, I think, doesn't it? And we should also be seeing something of a transition beginning to form here as well now. I'm quite happy with that. Cool. So let's turn our attention now to the student accommodation part of this build. I want to utilise emerging downtowns for the first time in a row home formation, I think. So to set up our emerging downtowns row home district, again another wonderful DLC. We're going to filter for required DLC or content creator packs, in this case content creator pack, and then the emerging downtown one. Set a filter here for 1x4 assets, which pretty much pulls in all the row homes. There is some that are 3 and 2 and 1 deep, but I don't really want the 1 deeps here. We're going to go for the 4 deeps. So we can select an asset, place it here in the corner, and then if we hit Alt and V, find it will randomly select an asset from this pool every time you hit it. So by filling out your blocks like this, you're going to get some nice randomization to what sort of row homes you get in. And through this way, we can create, I think, some pretty authentic row home streets. That will function definitely much as student housing here, just off of campus, but giving us some really nice street visuals, right? Emerging downtowns, I think it must be one of the most varied packs, because you get some like really modern condos, but then there's some like much older brick and wooden structures in here as well. But it's kind of a mix of 2 different styles, really. And then we'll keep this going all the way through, although we don't want them. I'm going to break this with a bit of a tree line, I think, if I want back-to-back 4s here. Yeah, I'm going to break the road here, so this will be the last block of row homes. And then we'll just do a nice little oak lining here to barrier the back of this very loud commercial to the residential here. And also create some nice transitional space with pathways leading people back into this pedestrian district from there. So let's form another block of these road districts here. So you really get the impression back to back, don't you? And because they're perfect 4x4s as well, or 4 deep at least, we're getting some quite authentic inner city back garden aesthetic, which is very welcome, right? Does any of these have a table? Yeah, there we go. That's a sun lounger, but we can make do. It's very dense foliage, but my point being, from the back gardens, right there you go, there was a balcony, right? Isn't that wonderful? That actually might be today's thumbnail, you know. That's a really nice view right there. So real inner city row homes here, right? Is the vibe we'll create. Which will essentially fill this whole district in and around this area here before we transition to low density residential. But again, we mentioned another bit of a commercial block or town centre here. I do wonder if I have the capacity to shift that orange friend down here a little bit. Yeah, I think that metro is going to stop it from happening, isn't it? Because it's essentially creating a dimensional tear here now. That's fine. We'll just do without that connection in that case. Let's reset that node as well. Or we can do it as a pathway. But I will break more blocks here for row home districts to form. In varying different orientations, we can probably do them. Turning our attention toward the metro, I suppose I am slightly bothered by the fact it's not central, so we'll move that over. Metros shouldn't be too unhappy with that. One's still flowing. You have burned down. Possibly highlighting our need for fire helicopters. We'll see if we can find a place to bring some of those in. Let's place some plazas down here. I think I'm going to go for double up of the Shibuya Plaza. This one here. On either side of the metro station. And then here with the hole in the ground, I'd love to set all the nodes to the same height here, which will deform some other roads around it, but I'd rather the plaza roads all be at the same instance. And then we'll grab some of our 4x4 paved villas here. I'm just going to keep this centered around the main hall. And then those little extra bits can just be a little pavement transition from the sidewalk. And we can have a lot of fun in here, I think, can't we? Go ahead and get some functional parks down. We'll use some of the plaza stuff, the two-sided road parks. We'll have that there. We'll have another one facing this direction. We'll build some of our own entertainment out here as well. Those tiles do somewhat collide, which could be a potential issue. If I move you into the tiles, do you behave? Basically, I think it's actually just the, there is very nearly a perfect sweet cover point with those tiles. That'll do for me. As I was saying, some of our own entertainment here. A couple of these, little ice cream plaza over there. Some nice benches. Let's just sit out in the plaza here. Enjoy the various nightlife facilities around. We could feed a path through all this as well, but I think it'd be a shame not to make it walkable, wouldn't it? I can't really help it now. I have the ability to do anarchy. Walkable space is so much more freely available. I'm going to do the same thing over here as well, but we'll use a path, park life path for this. Oh, that's still forcing the terrain, isn't it? Let's do 3 tiles, and then we can detail this in with probably some rocks here. To hide that little tunnel heading under. Only 6 people through this a week. 135 at the main one. And we did have grand ideas of feeding this metro away, didn't we? This metro line here is a little bit redundant now. Probably need to replan where that's going to go. I don't think it needs to connect into here. I think we probably need to take it in a bit of an L shape, if you like. Up this way. Which is probably what I'll do. I'll probably pierce it kind of straight east, if you like, down this tile line. Stopping at the Central Park again to converge with this metro monorail. Because it doesn't really need to come over here now. But we'll address that when we need it at some point over there. And how wonderful are these plazas as well. We haven't really placed too many of these from the Shibuya DLC. Again, it gives us a really nice view up, doesn't it? Into what is a really cool transition here. That's actually one of my favourite viewpoints of the skyline that's developing here. Especially with all these row home districts ready to be built in. And then I'll also use this road here as an excuse to end the row home district, which will continue all the way around here. And then I think coming back into our low density district over here, I'll probably just use either University City or mid-century modern stuff, because we already have it this close to the downtown anyway. But I think transitioning to industry, our University City is probably going to look more appropriate. Yeah, we are missing a little bit of paper here. We actually... Wait, do we not have a paper store in this factory? Glass, metal, fish, plain timber, and plastic. Did I miss out a paper warehouse? Yeah, okay. We'll quickly throw that in then. I can't believe I missed that out. I'll just chuck it in there for right now. Reclaim some nodes while we're at it. And you become paper. Take away some of those trees as well. I should hopefully keep the factory district stocked at least. And the level crossing from last episode is still alright. Quite worried about this with it being a pretty major downtown arterial segment. In terms of what's going to happen over here with this little green space, this is where I'd love to bring in some of that transitional park space. A lot of the comments suggested having sports fields near here, where I was so close to the university. And of course an actual stadium as well. I think we'll litter this park with multiple different instances of Peanut's work, allowing space to try and save as much terrain pain as possible, which is a great saying actually, isn't it? This episode is going to be full of terrain pain. And then with the sports pictures in, we can add further complementary base game parks, all of which should fit in quite nicely here. And then I'd love a way for people to cross the metro here via pathway, giving us a little bit of a skywalk aesthetic. I don't think it'll be busy as the ones in the city centre. They're just insane. We won't ever be able to replicate them again. I think certainly across here. We can afford a little skywalk there, which doesn't need to be raised like that. That down a touch. Cool. And then here, I'm not sure, I'll probably use the metro as a dividing line, really. For what is going to be quite a peculiar shaped area here, I think, because we've got some really strange terrain. It might end up just being pure forest as part of the park, with the monorail coming through it. But yeah, another weird build to plan in here between Factory and Central Park eventually. Once Central Park is complete, obviously. But otherwise, I feel a good point for a detailing time-lapse now. We've got lots to expand around here. Going to embellish some more towers by the metro here too. Lots of backer commercial detailing around here, just to fill in these awkward sort of blocks of no concrete. The rest of the row homes to go in around the metro plaza, which will likely feature some further commercial. And then just a zoning of our choice of outer-lying low-density residential. To complete essentially what is the final transitional district up to the central city centre here. And of course I guess we'll also transition into downtown from here. Which I think I have decided that this is going to be a regional airport, kind of like London City airport style. With the major international airport being out on the peninsula probably. Which is where it is in relation to New Zealand, because if you didn't know, this map is very heavily based on Auckland. And New Zealand International Airport kind of sits down here in relation to Auckland over here. So that's probably what's going to happen. I change my mind every single week. So it might be a different story indeed next week. But either way, let's complete one of our final transition points into the city centre. But either way, grab some snacks and we'll be right back with detailing time-lapse. Alright guys, let's have a little detailing review, shall we, over what might be my new favourite suburb. There's tons happening here. Our single family homes on the outer edge of town are made up of all this old university city housing. Of course, which is such the vibe, isn't it? Great pack this from Lenovo, severely underrated I feel. Around the back of our commercial, just some fencing with access points for either staff parking or delivery. To respect the back of the emerging downtown's commercial that now sits in front of our little metro plaza here, which is a really nice, this might be my favourite view of the downtown I think so far. Just this little crawl up into the city centre here is really wonderful. And I think it's safe to say that emerging downtown's row homes might be my favourite new district style in the city. I think expect to see this everywhere from now on. You just get such a vibe coming down the street, don't you? Especially with the skyline behind it as well. Like a really, really fun way to use emerging downtowns, I think. I'll definitely be utilising this much more in the future. Just really nice row districts. Row homes in CS1 make a big difference. Further commercial through here, just onto respecting corner units where we come back to the campus. And then up our cycling streets we have nice statue of Jerry Sr., some surface paint or a sign, bins, kiosks, just general park space. Some double plaza action with the Shibuya and Railroad of Japan plazas next to the metro. With specially chosen commercial to sit where we like, all the way up here. Or our emerging row homes district coming, which is what I'm going to call it, emerging row homes I think. That's definitely what it is now. All the way through the street, which has hopefully done something for the population. We're still continuing to grow, but I don't think we'll hit the 65,000 I think it is, isn't it, for the last tile. So that's a more high density we'll certainly have to go in, I feel. So I really like all these districts through here. That turned out really nicely. Up this way we just have dissipating greenbelt taking us up to this next build, which will be something I'm not totally aware of what that'll be yet. Rail crossing for the Metro Police is still performing alright, actually, pretty much perfectly. Thought that would be a bigger choke point, really. And I really love seeing this Metro just kind of curve through all this suburb here. Should be quite an impressive nighttime visual, I imagine. Just kind of switched back this path. It looks a little strange just going straight up, so through a little curving. Which again will take us into another build, which is going to have monorail right through the middle of it, which will be a really interesting landscape to play with here. Whether or not this ends up just being expanded as Central Park, I'm not sure. I haven't really thought that far ahead in that bit of the city just yet. All of our nightlife, commercial, bars, shopping, clubs and entertainment now lies down the pedestrian street. Again with those views that we mentioned earlier on in the episode. Up to this big office park, which now lies over here with some Green Cities apartments packed in with car parking, parks and surfaces, just to create a bit of a high-rise development. Walkable space back into, of course, which I think actually sits really nicely with the Central Park build here, doesn't it? Having these very modern style Green Cities apartment buildings in here. Tons of commercial, with back of commercial detail in service painter here to respect the bins and the doors. With a little alleyway cutting through, missed a bit of surface painter there actually. And then these blocks just flow into our office park. It's mainly office and commercial through here, mostly office space really. Especially with these vanilla office towers here. And then just some rock walls and nice colourful trees in the office park to try and hide what is pretty gnarly terrain here. You really get a sense of just how uphill we are on this gradient. It's not flat by any means here. A real challenge to building, but I think I'm really happy with how it all came out. I always love these mixed use builds, office, commercial and residential, and pedestrian areas and plazas and cycling, all tucked into one another. So yeah, always a really fun time I think to be had. With some commercial detailing here. And of course we'll always check out last episode's build as well, to see how it's getting on. Hopefully the metros or the monorails. I guess there is metro here as well, isn't there? 113 through here isn't bad at all. How many businesses are we getting in the park actually? I've had 8,000, only 56 in a week. There is other entrances into the park, so maybe they're taking those as well. And then the trams, still not super busy up this way. Let's see if we can wait for someone to stop off. There's a little old man here waiting for them. Yeah, so a little bit disappointing the tram isn't mega busy down here, but I think everyone tends to get off here inside the central park and then walk to where they want. Then if they're not there, then I think they're taking the monorails as well. The tram police were also not happy with this as well, and this perhaps being a little too steep. So maybe we need to change the switch back here, and which I think we'll address as we open up this next section of Central Park once this last tile opens up here, which is currently stopping our growth. Looks like we do need 65,000 population for that. I think a lot of that population is going to go in an upzoning episode across here. I think now we have the downtown and the single family homes here seems very jarring. What I think would be extremely expensive real estate to be able to build here opposite a city centre like this with ferry access directly in. So we'll likely upzone this to be high density apartments and probably not skyscrapers. Definitely this will probably be, I guess, not too much taller than the bridge is probably what I want to go for. So we'll probably get a lot of the population in that we need. During an upzoning episode, everyone's still insanely busy. Absolutely fantastic. Probably due another ferry crossing, to be honest. It's been a while since we've had one. And possibly down here. Although I imagine the next one will probably sit with the airport in some capacity. And take people back into these different areas here. So either way, downtown Illium continues to grow in really what is one of my favourite episodes of the series so far, this whole transitional district. It gives us a really nice climb back up into that skyline, doesn't it? So thank you so much for watching, indeed, if you have made it up to this point. And an enormous shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that support these videos with a roll call to our Golden Egg patrons. Casino, Spartan Angel, Michael W, Phoenix MD, Blythe, Jamin, and Great C. If you want to get involved with that and help support these videos, links down below to Instant Gaming and Patreon are the best way to do so. Hope you are still enjoying Illium, indeed if you've made it right to the end of episode 23. I'm assuming you are. Really just having so much fun with the freedom of the mods and the official assets to create our perfect city vista, which is continuing to grow week on week. Hang around for the cinematics. Should get some really nice full nighttime views in now with this build finished. Otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Well, thank you all again so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.